My name is Lupe Romero, and I am a 5-year pancreatic cancer survivor times 2. And you know what? Pancreatic cancer, I have a message for you. You could do whatever you want to my body, but you will never touch my soul or my spirit. I was diagnosed on February 12, 2012, exactly a month after my 50th birthday. I was admitted with the initial diagnosis of gallstones, but after an ERCP and a CT scan, it was found that it wasn't gallstones. In fact, it was pancreatic cancer. After the ERCP, my family, my husband, and my precious boys were pulled into this small room and given the devastating facts of this disease. We didn't know what pancreatic cancer was. I don't think we even knew what the pancreas was. But they were told the horrible facts of disease. They were devastated. 4 days later, I was taken into surgery as I qualified for this procedure called the Whipple procedure. There's no cure for pancreatic cancer, but if you qualify for this Whipple procedure, then you are given a second chance at life and a longer life. The Whipple procedure, they remove the whole duodenum, part of the stomach, all of the gallbladder, the spleen, the bile duct, and half of the pancreas. It totally changes your digestive system. And so then I was placed on this aggressive chemotherapy called Filfornox. After almost a year of this chemotherapy, then I had a successful Whipple procedure at UCLA at the Aggie Hirschberg Foundation. Dr. Hines and his staff, his colleagues, performed a successful Whipple procedure. I had negative lymph nodes and clean margins. Everything was good. 6 weeks after my Whipple procedure, I met this amazing woman called Julie Weiss, the marathon goddess, who lost her father just 35 days after he was diagnosed, like approximately 6 years ago. And she has dedicated her life to run marathons. She has now run over 100. But that year, she was running 52 marathons in 52 weeks. All in honor of her father, and every marathon she dedicated to people affected by pancreatic cancer. In this particular marathon, she had dedicated it to me. It was very emotional. I jogged 6 weeks after my surgery. I jogged the last mile of the Los Angeles Marathon with Julie Weiss. It wasn't easy, but I did it. This was emotional for me because I had in the past run 10 marathons, and I had dedicated them to other people, especially our military, as my son Lewis was in the service in 1991, a Marine. So from that point on, when I would run marathons, my son encouraged me at that time. My family didn't want me to do marathons, but 6 months after I started running in 1999, I ran my first marathon, encouraged by my son Lewis at the time, a young corporal. So I continued to run. I would think about him and the young servicemen and women. After the marathon, when I'd come home, my blisters would be huge. Everything hurt, including my hair, but I would think about these young men and women that were far from home, who could not sleep in their beds, who had their own blisters from those horrible boots and, those heavy boots and all the training that they did, and they had their own scars, and that gave me strength. So I continued to run. So after I had my successful Whipple with clean margins and no lymph nodes, I was cancer-free for a year and 4 months. I beat you. You didn't show your ugly head. I also beat you during chemotherapy because the Filfornox is known to have harsh side effects. But that whole year, I tolerated Filfornox fairly well. You and I were in the round, but I beat you every time because I would be receiving chemo through my port practically all day. And then at the end of the day, I would get hooked to my pump, and guess what? I would go hiking 4 to 5 miles, and the next day, still hooked to my pump. I would still continue to hike or take long walks. I continued to work. And then during lunch, on the 3rd day, I would go to have my pump removed and the port flushed. This happened every 2 weeks for several months. And so after my successful Whipple, I was back in my life. You had left me alone. But then, and during this time, I completed 2 half marathons, and I went to complete my full Los Angeles Marathon. And I took up skydiving. Another amazing woman that I met is my friend Roberta Luna, my partner in crime. We did one half marathon together, and we've gone skydiving, and we're going to go skydiving again. It'll be my 6th time, and it'll be her 3rd time. Roberta is a 15-year pancreatic cancer survivor, and she's not going anywhere. She keeps kicking your butt, and she'll continue to kick your butt. She lost family members, and the passion and love that she has for her family members that she loved, that love has turned inside out, and this passion to keep going and to keep fighting you. She's going to beat you. The same thing with all these people that I have met. That's another thing. You've affected my mind, and that makes me upset, but then I let it go. Pamela Marcotte, because of the love she had for her mom, she is the founder of the Pancreatic Action Network. I have met the most amazing people through this organization. And then there's Aggie Hirschberg, who lost her husband over 20 years ago. And that love that she has for her husband, she's so passionate about fighting you. And she will continue to fight you. Aggie and her staff are amazing, and they'll fight you. They'll fight you till they find a cure. And so I was back in my life. I went to Mexico, climbed pyramids. I went horseback riding. I did amazing things, enjoying my family and my friends. I went to visit my grandson in Texas. I did amazing things. But then, and my husband had been sick. He had been sick in 1999. They told us that his liver disease was so advanced that he most likely had 3 to 6 months to live. But he was a miracle himself, because he said absolutely not. And he was disabled, but he had a great quality of life. We took so many trips together. We went to Vegas. We thoroughly enjoyed each other. My husband and I, my best friend of 38 years, I met him when I was 14 and he was 17. And early on, I always say that we went to hell and back, but you know what? We got to a beautiful place just a few years later. The last 20-some years, our relationship had been stripped to the core. Not only did we become one, but our illnesses then meshed us into one person, beyond one person. So in May, I had a reoccurrence, May 2014. You had taken a toll on his health, and then when I was diagnosed with a reoccurrence in May 2014, my precious Louis left this world 2 months later. But you know what? You didn't beat him, because love just got us through this, and my husband gave the ultimate sacrifice. My husband never complained, but towards the end, he did say, when we were taking him to the hospital, he said, I just can't do this anymore. And then I would say, honey, hang in there. Before you know it, you'll get your new liver. And he says, no, I'm not going to get my new liver. And I said, well, don't talk that way, because I just don't know what I'd do without you. And he very firmly looked at me and he says, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, because God and I have an arrangement. So what do you think of that, pancreatic cancer? Love conquers all. His strength is still with me. I miss him till I can't stand it sometimes. But you know what? My heart is peaceful. And the strength that he gave me, the tools he left me with, because he had been sick for so many years, give me strength, and I keep pushing. I started getting sick a few months ago, and I was, most doctors don't know what to do with us when we're diagnosed, let alone when we survive. They sure don't know what to do with us. So I was misdiagnosed with malnutrition a couple years ago. So now I'm dealing with malabsorption. My body can no longer process fat, sugar, or dairy. Even with pancreatic enzymes, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I'm down to 124 pounds. I'm 5'6". My granddaughter Vanessa Romero is 13 years old, and she weighs 124 pounds. And she's a tiny little thing. I can't believe that I weigh as much as Vanessa. She's small, but she has muscle. I now have no muscle. I also get really sick, like I'm sick right now, and that's why I'm furious and I'm upset. But I don't let you keep me down. In Christmas, I started getting sick. When I would have a wonderful day, then the next day I'd get sick. About a little bit over a month ago in January, my mom and I followed the tradition that my husband and I used to have of going to Vegas on our birthdays. His birthday was January 9th and mine was January 11th. So since 99, we'd always go to Vegas for our birthdays, and we'd take my mom. So I took my mom, and I also took my tia Lucita. And you know what? I had an amazing time. You can't take that away from me. I have amazing memories. Of course, when I got back, then I got sick. I experienced what I'm experiencing now chills. I can't warm up. I have a fever and a headache. And then I got better. And so then the following weekend, I went to one of my friends who I connected through Facebook, Lady T. I went to her birthday party, and I had an amazing time, and you can't take that away from me. But then again, you made me sick a few days later. I got myself together, and then I went to my friend Lucy and her husband Jimmy's birthday party, and guess what? I had an amazing time. Of course, the cycle continued. I got sick again. But then I recovered. And on the weekends, I enjoy my mom, my brothers and sisters, my kids, my grandkids, and I keep moving forward. This last weekend, I went to the Pancreatic Cancer Symposium at UCLA. I had an amazing time. I met with some amazing friends. I connected with some survivors, including Tom Mosek, who's also a 5-year survivor this month. We were both diagnosed in 2012. But then here I am. I knew I was at work and I started getting the chills and I couldn't warm up. But you know what? I'm tough like my husband. I made it through the day. I also took a nutrition class because I want to learn everything I can about nutrition, and I'm not going to let you beat me. So I went to class. I barely made it, but I did make it because, again, I carry my husband in my heart. Not just my husband. I've met so many amazing people who haven't lost their lives to you. Don't even think they've lost their lives to you. You affect them, you grow inside of them, but you know what? They fight till they can't fight no more, and love conquers all. They have the support of their family, their friends, and they have love. And then when they can't fight anymore, God comes down, he opens up his arms, and he takes them with him. And when he takes them with him, there is no more pain, there's no more suffering, there's no more you, there's only love. He surrounds them with love and a bright light, and he takes them away to a place that's peaceful. And then they become part of nature. They make this world a more beautiful place. Then they're part of the rain, the sun, the birds, the sky, the earth, the ocean. They're part of this. And they also help whatever it is that they need to do to help their loved ones. I know because I carry my husband in my heart. My heart is peaceful. My heart is not empty. I miss my husband, but my heart is overflowing because of how much my husband loved me. So again, you know what? You can do whatever you want to my body, but you will never touch my soul or my spirit. I will continue to fight. I will fight you and fight you. And everybody dies. So, I mean, I tell people, with or without cancer, there's no guarantee that you will awaken another day. So I inhale life, the good with the bad. The second time around when I had my Filfornox, you knocked me off my feet and I couldn't eat or drink for 4 to 5 days. And I also had radiation therapy. But you know what? I haven't had chemo in almost 2 years. And you're still there. This time you wrapped around the mesenteric vein, the mesenteric artery, and a third vessel. And you're inoperable, but there's been no new activity. There is a new lymph node. There's a new nodule on my lung that they're keeping an eye of, but I don't let fear conquer me. I don't give you a second thought. I keep moving forward, and I keep taking one day at a time. I take one moment at a time, one step at a time, one breath at a time. And I have the most important thing in my heart, and it's love. Love conquers all. God's love conquers all, and he lives through my family, my friends, and I'm truly, truly blessed. So you know what, Cancer? You don't stand a chance because love conquers all. And not just me, we're all one body, and all these people who loved their families passionately, who you've affected with this disease, we are one huge mass, and we're going to beat you. Maybe not in my lifetime, but we're going to beat you. To my pancreatic cancer survivor friends, never give up. Keep going. My Whipple warriors, keep going. Never, never give up. We honor those who have gone before us, and we fight with those who are fighting, and we pray for those who will be diagnosed in the future. Love you, and God bless.